The lawsuits that we are filing really are not about partisanship. They're about the rule of law. The fact of the matter is that attacks on our Constitution and our right to representative government are not acceptable, and we will not tolerate it. They cannot tear down institutions like the Department of Education, which is designed to help educate our families and our children.
That was Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison tonight at a community impact meeting with 3 other Democratic attorneys general who have sued the Trump administration over his dismantling of the Department of Education. Tonight's meeting was a chance for Minnesota voters to learn how the cuts that Elon Musk and DOGE are pursuing are going to hurt them in their schools and their hospitals, but also how their states are fighting back. And it comes just one day after the Attorney General Keith Ellison and fellow state attorneys general won a victory in which a federal judge has now forced the government to reinstate nearly 25,000 probationary federal employees. Democratic attorneys general have also sued the Trump administration and DOGE for freezing roughly $3 trillion in state funding. A federal judge issued an injunction to stop Trump in that case as well. Tonight, the attorneys general got to hear from voters about the hardship that Trump and Musk are causing them.
As someone who was born with disabilities, I've seen time and time again that whenever our communities are short in their budgets, people with disabilities and senior services are cut first. Proposed federal Medicaid cuts could remove up to $880 billion from the program over the next decade, with Minnesota potentially losing up to $1.6 billion in 2027 alone. These reductions would further strain our health care and social services systems. Myself, my family, the disability justice movement in Minnesota, and the East Side will not tolerate this much longer.
Joining us now is the Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison. Attorney General, good to see you again. You and I have talked since the election and about the things that you as attorneys general will do. But now we're talking about this woman who said, we will not take this for much longer. We have a rally going on in Tempe, Arizona with Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And they're saying, we're not going to let you tear down these government institutions. We're not going to do that. There's a lot of energy behind this now.
There's a ton of energy. People have coming together. They're raising their voices. We had well over 1,000 people. Maybe we had about 1,300.
Wow.
And people were mad, and they were explaining all the ways that these horrible executive orders are hurting them and their families. We had heard from people who are veterans. We heard from people in the disability community. We heard from people who were summarily fired as federal workers, and they are getting hot. And I believe them when they say they will not take it much longer.
And, for instance, you and these other attorney generals had the success in having, and we were just watching, Bernie Sanders is still continuing in Tempe, Arizona. You had a success in getting the government to reinstate some of these probationary workers. That's real. So once they realize that their voices and their agitation and their ability to fight back has an outlet through perhaps people like you, their attorneys general, their governors, their members of Congress, it's just going to activate more people.
Absolutely. People are getting encouraged by the courage that they're seeing other people demonstrate. And let me tell you, I had folks, Matt Plotkin from New Jersey, Tish James, Chris Mays, Kwame Raoul coming from all different states. We started our Attorney General roadshow in Arizona. We're continuing in Minnesota, but now we're moving on to Oregon and we're moving on to Colorado. We got plans. We're going to keep on talking to the people, and we're going to keep on litigating and bringing these issues forth, not only in the courtroom, but also in the court of public opinion.
I know you've been busy today, so I don't know if you saw this, but Donald Trump posted on Truth Social what appears to be a warning to Chief Justice Roberts to stop. He says, stop the nationwide injunctions before it's too late. He said, if Justice Roberts and the United States Supreme Court do not fix this toxic and unprecedented situation immediately, our country is in very serious trouble. First of all, there's nothing toxic and weird about nationwide injunctions. In most cases, injunctions having to do with the federal government would be nationwide. But what do you think he means before it's too late?
I think he's threatening the court. I think that, he has threatened the press I mean, he sued ABC. He's kicked AAP out because they won't use his silly lingo. He's threatening universities. He's threatened federal workers. And now he's threatening the courts. This is the stuff of dictatorship. There's no other way to put it. He's trying to tear down every institution that Americans rely on. When you start threatening judges and you start telling the chief judge what he better do, that's dangerous stuff, particularly after Justice Roberts just said the other day, hey, look, he took the unprecedented step of going to call out the president, to say you cannot threaten impeachment and all this stuff. If you don't like the process, if you don't like a ruling, appeal it. That is the way we do things for the last 200 years in America. That was an extraordinary step, and it's absolutely crazy that he would have to do it, but I'm glad that he did.
Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks for joining us tonight. We always appreciate it.
Always. Thank you.